excuse me, I just wanted to point out in your report that in this reporting period, the Santa Fe Community College employees have made contributions to the foundation in excess of $7,000.
Yes.
And we as board members know that our staff and faculty does not have a lot of disposable income, but we are very appreciative that what little they do have, they see fit to invest in Santa Fe Community College.
Thank you, Member Sullivan, for pointing that out, and sorry for that I didn't do that, but I'm so glad that you did. We've been visiting every department and talking about employee giving through payroll deduction, and it's a nice painless way to give. Even $1 a pay period adds up if everybody was doing it. So more and more people are joining that. Yeah, and the ones that have joined recently, we've given them of course, a thank you letter, which they can use for, well, I don't know if they can still use it for their tax purposes, but anyway, a thank you letter and a big payday candy bar.
I just want to be sure that we acknowledge that, because they are the part of our community and team, and we, as a board, acknowledge them contributing to the success of our team efforts.
Thank you, sir. That's very nicely said. Thank you.
And I know that each board member has also contributed.
Yes, we're very fortunate, have a very generous governing board. Thank you all.
All right, no other questions? Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
Great report. Okay, I've lost my agenda list. Okay. Now we are on to Kids Campus.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Cervantes, I'm Michelle Rosen, Director of Kids Campus, and
I'm Barbara Amelia Byrne-Gonzalez. I'm the Assistant Director of Operations for Kids Campus.
it's a little hard to follow a blue whale, which, by the way, our kids will love to see.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you're aware of our program. We're a state-of-the-art lab school and early childhood program. We offer continuity of care from birth through 5. We have 10 classrooms right now, 2 infants, 2 toddlers, 2 twos, 2 early pre-Ks, and 2 pre-Ks. We appreciate our beautiful facility. And since we expanded with our pre-K programs into the annex next door, we are at full capacity with a total of 130 children. We have a staff of 35. Each classroom has a lead teacher, a teacher assistant, and a classroom assistant. We have 2 cooks, and we prepare fresh meals daily, breakfast, lunch, and a snack. We use emergent curriculum, so we don't have any bottled curriculum or pre-planned curriculum. It's considered emergent because it's child-driven and it's child-initiated. So besides literacy, math, science, art, dramatic play, and sensory tables, we have an area in our rooms that are created uniquely based on what the kids' interests are. So if the teacher reads a book and there's a volcano in it and the kids become interested in that, there'll be a whole center around volcanoes, and that may last a week or a month depending on the kids' interest. And it can go on for quite an amount of time. And we do this because we want to develop a love of learning in our children and create a community of learners.
Yeah.
As Dr. Cervantes mentioned, we've recently received some local and national attention with Governor Lujan Grisham and Senator Martin Heinrich, who came the day before Election Day and came again a couple of weeks ago, returned with Mark Shriver, which was quite a treat for us, and they spent a good amount of time in our center. In fact, the governor asked if she could bring her granddaughter to, hang out with us on occasion. And of course, we don't allow that, but for her, we do. Totally. We were also present at the governor's signing of SB 22, which created a new early childhood department, which we're hoping will consolidate services and be responsive to the unique needs of our age group. We'll also amp up the workforce and generate more funding. So that's something that we're looking forward to. We were very, very active during the legislative session, and especially with Dr. Salih, attended many of the caucuses and provided a lot of information and presentations. So we were excited that we were present at the signing that day, because they limited it to just a handful of people. So we currently have 2 extended day early pre-Ks and 1 basic pre-K, which is for the 4-year-olds, that only is half a day. And we have a mixed age group that's 3 and 4s, and that's also half a day. We've just submitted a grant with CYFD for extended day for pre-K. And we're working on another grant for extended day for mixed age pre-K. We're trying to be responsive to the needs of the community. For the past 3 years, we've requested extended day, which hadn't happened, but we do offer wraparound from 7:30 to 5:30, even though the core program for these kiddos, the free program, might just be from 8:30 to 12:30 or 8:30 to 2:30. All kids do get breakfast, lunch, and those that stay longer get snack as well. Our population is really diverse. 25 to 50% of those served are part of SFCC's student, staff, and faculty children, some in this room, of course, depending on the semester and the year. Half of our families qualify for subsidies through CYFD, and probably half of our children have grandparents who either are raising them or dropping them off and picking them up every day. So we have a multi-generational model. About 10% of our kids are foster kids. And we've really grown that population in the 3 years that I've been director. We are frequently called when children are removed from their homes and placed in protective custody. Our staff is trained in trauma care, and we know that we can provide the most consistent and healthy relationships so critical to helping children manage that level of stress. We are an essential part of the trauma team that meets monthly for each child, and I attend every single meeting at CYFD with updates, and we've become a really essential part of that team. And that's pretty new for us. We have many students doing practicums, internships, and observations in our classrooms. There's always a lot going on at our center. We have many grants that support the fiscal health of the program and also support students in the community. So some of our grants, we have our early pre-K grant is $256,000 a year for 4 years. Our pre-K grant is $108,000 for 4 years. Our city grant, we have a city grant for our mixed age classroom, and that's $40,000 for 2 years. We've been really creative in bringing money in to support our program. We have a playground grant that supports reimagining our playground. I would like to speak a little bit more about that later. A Brindle grant that supports our professional development, which allowed us to send 10 staff to the 0 to 3 conference this year, which was in Denver. We loaded everybody up in a van, and Amelia drove them up, and it was quite unusual for us to be able to do that. And we have the CACFP, the Child Adult Food Program grant that supports meals for our children, and that's about $60,000 yearly. We do have these 2 grants that we're working on right now. One of them also includes an outdoor playground startup. We really hope to become a state-of-the-art outdoor learning environment center to be able to share that with other centers and show them how important nature-based learning is. We ended this month, the month of February, with a $69,000 excess, and in March there is an additional payroll, so having a surplus helps us cover the costs. But we're excited that we've made some major changes in the past few years, and we're running a profit right now. I did want to talk a little bit about our outdoor areas. We're working on developing a way to, let me find my notes. Here we go. We know how important nature-based learning is, and we really want to provide that for our students and for other centers that come to learn at our site. We know that outdoor learning increases attention, relieves stress, improves fitness, builds a love and respect for nature, invites collaboration and cooperation and team building. And we also know that in the last 30 years, the roaming area for kids has decreased considerably, like by 90%. So kids don't have that opportunity. A lot of our kids live in apartments. They don't have a chance to be outdoors. And so we want to create more of a natural play area that really mimics our own northern New Mexico environment. So we have a committee of landscape architects and donors and dreamers, and we've been working on this for some time. We're hoping that we get these grants that we've applied for to help us build something more natural. We are not big fans of anything plastic. We know it has its purpose, except for the blue whale. That's a good use. We have a lot of exciting things going on as well. As the professional development hub for the state, we are bringing Dr. Bruce Perry to Santa Fe on September 16th. And if you're not aware of his work, we've actually purchased a bunch of books. And if you haven't read this book, The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog, it's kind of a difficult title. It's his case histories. He's a medical doctor and PhD, and his field is neuropsychology. And his information on brain development and working with trauma kids is outstanding. So we're very excited to bring him here. He travels the world. He doesn't, he's not easy to snag. It took us a year just to bring him over here. And so we're working on that. We also see that as being a moneymaker for our center, because we will be charging a fee for that day. But to have a whole day with Bruce Perry, he's like the rock star of trauma-informed care. So we're really, really excited for that. We have a lot of partners in the community. Maybe you want to talk a little bit, Amelia, about some of the partnerships that we foster.
Well, some of the partners that we've been working with in the community, PMS Head Start, United Way Early Learning, Santa Fe Public Schools, Birth to Career Collaborative, and in July, we led a citywide professional development for the Collaborative Teacher Institute. All these partners have been really great to work with, especially in the past couple months when we've been really supporting SB 22. We've all been there together supporting that bill and the importance of early childhood education. The Collaborative Teacher Institute has been great for a lot of the teachers, not only in our community, but in some of our surrounding communities. We hosted at our center at the Kids Campus. And along with that, it also offers a mentorship. So for some of our teachers that are moving up in education and may want to move into lead teacher positions, it allows them to meet with other teachers that have that experience and can help share some of that knowledge. So it's been a really good asset for a lot of our teachers, not just for our center, but for a lot of northern New Mexico.
I think we've pretty much covered it all. So we're open to any questions you may have.
Madam Chair, I was just going to mention that in my report, I did indicate that Amelia Byrne Gonzalez is the only New Mexico representative going to Washington, D.C. For training to advocate for early childhood programs with the Save the Children's Network. So congratulations, Amelia. We're proud of you.
That's coming up this weekend.
Yeah,
This weekend?
on Saturday. Yes.
Maybe you can come back and tell us
Yes.
how it went.
We will.
That's
Thank
good.
you.
George?
Two questions. One, the demand for services. You're currently full. Can you talk a little about current demand? And could you just look in your crystal ball a little bit and sort of what do you see coming? And second question, your role as a training center, and could you also talk a little more about that, once again, a little bit into the future, and I'm kind of looking at what implications do those views have for future development of the kids campus. So if you could do that, please, in 30 seconds or less.
I know it's been a long night. We usually have a waiting list for all of our classrooms. The biggest demand is really for infants because there are very few programs in our region that offer the kind of high quality care that we do with the ratios that we do. Our teachers write curriculum for our infants. So nothing that we do is random, and we're different from, of course, a home care center because we can provide so much more and we have so many experts on hand. So the biggest demand is really for the youngest kids because there's just not a lot out there. Do you want to
And
answer that?
is that demand coming from the Santa Fe Community College community or outside, like students and faculty and?
I would say from both.
Yes, so on our waiting list, we do ask if they're part of the community or if they are part of Santa Fe Community College, and it does seem to be a demand overall. Even with people moving into Santa Fe from other states, we even get phone calls saying, we've looked at all these centers, your center's the one we'd like to attend. Do you have openings? And as Michelle said, unfortunately in our infant class, we only enroll 8 children at a time. And that's for a full year. So we can only provide 8 slots, which is really, it's challenging sometimes because you have families that are in need and we don't have the space for that. So I think looking in the future, that is where I'm seeing the greatest need as well, even moving forward.
Because then our infant A kiddos move up into infant B, so we keep the spaces for the kids that are already attending. And we want to provide that continuity of care for our families.
So indeed, looking into the future, what do you see that, the implications of that for facilities, staff?
Well, I think one of the greatest issues is the workforce. We just don't have enough qualified people. Also, the salaries are not commensurate with, other teaching positions. So, for example, our infant teacher recently received her BA, and we really wanted her to be able to earn the money that she would earn because we didn't want her to move to Santa Fe Public Schools, which so many teachers do, because they guaranteed a better salary. So, we were able to create another position at her level and keep her. And so that's very challenging, is finding people who have the level of education. We would like all of our teachers to have at least a BA in all of our classrooms. And many of them do, but we want them to feel like they're compensated for that and to continue to go beyond that. So I don't have a great crystal ball when it comes to early, the earliest, the littlest ones. There's a lot of competition right now with pre-K, which is why this was the first year we couldn't fill our 2 pre-K classrooms, created a mixed age group. And there's definitely a need for 3-year-old programming. And so that's why we're expanding that program. We're just trying to be responsive to the needs of the community.
And how about the issues of training, the training that you are doing? And again, is that, how much of a piece is that of the work that's being done at Kids Campus, and how much demand is there for it? And looking again in your crystal ball, what's the future look like there?
So being a lab school, and just the way that our rooms are set up, we have observation decks outside of every room. And so we have plenty of students coming from not just the community college, but, other institutions to do their observations. We have practicum students that have to do a certain number of hours per semester. We have internship students, we have student teachers, and we're just actively seeking to train as many students that are interested in the field. All the classes take place in our center in the evening, so we have a lot of folks that that see our facility and then would like to come and either work for us or train with us. Our own dental students here do a screening with our little ones. We have nursing students come over and do their practicums with our students. We have centers I just hosted a center from Espanola, who just wanted to come and see the work we do, how we organize our classrooms. So we open our doors to everyone. We share information on how to fund, how to set up rooms, how, whatever information we have, we share. Amelia mentioned the CTI, Collaborative Teachers Institute. We've just taken that on, and that's going to be living at our campus, our kids' campus. So it's a way for teachers of early childhood to collaborate and share best practices. And they meet monthly.
Well, I think another good thing to point out is in order to be licensed through CYFD, all full-time staff is required 24 hours of training a year. And that's in any facility that is licensed by CYFD. So we host a training week every August, and we invite other centers in the community to participate in some of our training hours, because we know that sometimes it's hard to find trainings that are local or quality trainings, and we offer it for free for the most part. PMS will sometimes provide a speaker or provide a training, but we do work together so that we can all complete this training every year.
So that's 40 hours of training that we host every year. And that's just that 1 week in August before we start up. We are a year-round program, but we do close for 1 week to do the training.
Well, fantastic.
It's a busy place, and we welcome you anytime to come and enjoy our children.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Great, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Michelle. Thanks, Amelia.
Okay, we are on to the Faculty Senate report. Oh, goody. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I wrote it down. I was going to get it.
Wow.
I'll
Thank
give
you.
it back when I'm done. So you can reuse it. Thank you.
I wrote it down too.
Thank you for the gift.
President Cervantes, Chair Siegel, members of the board. First, I want to start by thanking Dr. Cervantes for your service for all these years, for helping to create a stable environment for us to go through an extensive search process, and we truly appreciate all of your efforts.
Thank you.
I also want to thank the board for a long, rigorous search, and we look forward to a long and prosperous tenure for Dr. Rowley. And I think that was one of the things that in the discussions in Faculty Senate, one of the real advantages we saw with her was she seemed like somebody that would be more likely to stay for a longer period of time. Some of the other people were real hot shots, but the chance that we might get them for a few years and they might move on was certainly a concern that we had, because we would like to have a president for a number of years this time around. So, but we're very excited, and I think that she'll do a fantastic job, and her experience and knowledge of the systems in New Mexico will benefit this college a great deal. And thank you again for a very excellent, rigorous search. We went through recently the faculty professional development day, and it was a really good day. There was a fantastic keynote speaker, and a lot of people came. Unfortunately, one downside of it, a lot of people came, we ran out of food, so we'll have to plan that better next time. But it was an excellent day. Everybody really enjoyed it. We would like in the longer term, and I think we've talked about this before, a greater role in the process of preparing the entire day, including not only talking about individual workshops, but also choosing the keynote and putting that whole event together. The search was very excellent. In terms of the faculty senate role we would like more, and I hope, again, hopefully we won't have a presidential search for a very long time again. But I think that, we would like to have some conversation at some point of just a a look at the search and kind of a closing the loop. What were the best things? What were things that we could have done better? I know that in terms of the faculty senate, we had lots of opportunities for participation, including having many people on the committee, and also opportunity for leaders from the faculty senate to interview the candidates separately. We didn't feel as though that the actual process by which we gave input through a survey monkey poll was necessarily ideal, and so we'd like to have some look at some of that. And again, I think it would be great to have some process of evaluation of how the whole thing went and what might be done differently in the future. We'd like to thank VP Margaret Peters for attending our meeting on March 1st. We discussed academic leadership, vacant positions and hiring, and course cancellation process. And at your next meeting, you should be receiving the minutes from the meeting where we had that conversation. And I think you'll find it very helpful. And we want to thank Vice President Peters, because one of the things that we were unhappy about with the course cancellation process was the meeting was happening before we were having open enrollment for people from out of state. And we understand that had a lot to do with some people in Tennessee trying to use our college as a way to defraud financial aid. And so in Mississippi, okay? And so, but almost immediately, very shortly thereafter the meeting, a change was made in that process. So the date on which we are allowing the open enrollment has now moved up. We want to thank Vice President Peters for very rapid action on that, and we appreciate the dialogue and the quick action on one of our biggest concerns. There are two resolutions that passed Faculty Senate. Again, they'll be in part of the next group of minutes you'll be receiving. And they'll be going through the Governance Council on the way to the board. One was on the course cancellation process, and the other was on the assignment of independent study classes. And you'll see those, and we can have a greater conversation after those actually come to the board. We have some concerns about the process for evaluating adjunct faculty. We wish that there were more involvement of faculty, and specifically adjunct faculty, in developing that process. And we do have a Faculty Senate committee that is reviewing this process and making suggestions for how we might make it a better process in the future. Faculty Senate and Staff Senate members worked on a prioritized list for the new budget proposals. We know that we had again, through a survey monkey, we gave you some input, but we did feel that there was a need for a better method for input. So I believe that was forwarded by the Staff Senate, but we got together with Faculty Senate, Staff Senate, really looked and looked at prioritizing and come up with a list, and that was very helpful, and it was good working together as a group on that process. Most faculty did fill out the surveys as well, but found the mechanism of the Survey Monkey inadequate for really giving a sense of the best budget priorities for the cost. Vice Chair Newberg has been working on developing a comprehensive committee list, and we're very excited, and we've come a long way with that. And we're meeting with Dr. Cervantes on Friday to kind of come up with what we have. I'm not sure it's going to be a complete list and everything. We're with all the members, the meeting times, and all of that. And I just say the process of working on that. Dare I suggest that we may need a policy on committees to get a better handle on committee formation, membership vacancies, and the missions of the committees. And with that, thank you. I'll take any questions.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Zuby.
Thank you. Staff Senate.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Interim President Cervantes. Let me digress briefly. It was 3,934 words, not 40,000 words. For the systems portfolio, it was 39,934 words, not 40,000 words. Plus multiple attachments. No attachments, because everything that's graphic had to be in a link. At any rate, Staff Senate did not meet last month because of Professional Development Day and because we were snowed out of the day that we were going to meet. So I will stand for questions, but I really don't have anything new for you.
Okay.
How did you spend the snow day?
I think most of us slept in. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Oh, wait.
Member Sullivan?
I just I just wanted to thank you for consistently giving us written reports and minutes. That's extremely helpful because we can read them ahead of time and ask questions, which I'm now going to ask. And only one. And you mentioned that you were disappointed, and I didn't know this, during the active shooter drill that the city did not participate. Is that true?
Yeah, the county did.
The county did, and I thought the city was going to, but I was,
They didn't.
I hate to admit it, but I was personally holed up at home writing the systems portfolio, and I didn't participate.
Maybe I'll direct that question to the Dr. Savanas then.
And I believe the reason they didn't participate was, well, we're not in the city. We're in the county. We're located in the county.
Close.
I know, but I think if there was I think if there was a real emergency, they'd come, but they just couldn't come and participate during the drill. Yeah.
Is there not an intercooperation agreement between the city and the county for EMTs? I somehow am back in my county days. I remember that, but I'm surprised at that.
Let me find more out about that and report back.
Well, and for no other reason other than the city has many more resources, many more law enforcement resources than the county does. And if a real shooter event occurred, we would certainly want some mechanism to do that. And what concerns me about this is, and many of you, like yourself, are too young to remember this, but years and years ago, there was a terrible accident on Hyde Park Road as a bus load of students came down the road, and some were killed and some were injured, and the main culprit of that, other than apparently a bus company, poor maintenance, was
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
well, and I recognize this is not your your responsibility as,
No, but I did hear quite a bit about the planning, so like I said,
Yeah.
that was my understanding from Noe and Martine, but,
it was in your minutes of your meeting. Aware of that, and I think it's important.
yes.
I know it's important. So that's the advantage of having a drill, is that you learn things. You learn what to do better the next time. And this would certainly be an area that I would recommend some thought be given to.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. How about student government?
I sure do have a report.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, President Cervantes, members of the board. So March 6th, SGA held its annual Student Voice, but this year it was Student Voice in Action. We wanted to report back to SGA what was accomplished this year. Also, we wanted to thank President Cervantes, Vice Presidents, Deans, staff, faculty, and students for their support in achieving many of these goals, because without your support, this would not have been possible. One of the biggest highlights from last year's Student Voice was the Viva Fitness, which we'd like to champion Dr. Cervantes for taking the lead in proceeding with this. 164 students have been empowered to utilize the fitness center here at the community college. We receive feedback from students that it has helped them with stress and other things. However, obviously there's still work to be done. Everything's not perfect, right? So we're working towards working with the Office of Disabilities, because students in this office, they're considered full-time with 9 credits actually. So we're seeing if there's a way that can be waived and for students to be allowed from the Office of Disabilities. There's also other things that we've accomplished. We've been involved in many of the committee meetings, participated in Office of Student Development events. That's a little bit of the report that we gave that day. That's just to show you guys what we reported to our students and everybody who was present. Also, the executive team was afforded the opportunity to interview the 4 presidential candidates, which we were actually very fortunate, and we thank those who allowed us to be part of this opportunity. Very rare opportunity. Hopefully we don't have to repeat this until many, many, many years. And we learned how to prepare for an interview and be knowledgeable of the process, which was very amazing to us. Also, we have our executive team elections will be taking place April 1st through April 12th. Our historian is working with Yosh Marimoto to bring an online voting option, which was not available previously. We have made a lot of gains with the voter turnout, so we're really excited to see what the turnout for this election turns to be. Applications for President, Vice President, Secretary, Historian for the 2019-2020 term, Deans. And we've decided we're working towards actually having 1 senator per dean instead of per school. This has to do with the fact that we have not been able to get many senators involved, unfortunately. Also, today we met with Mr. Miss Mallory to the survey to get students' feedbacks on weekend courses, and then also we'll be working, so as you all know, OSD is our umbrella, so we'll be working on the One World, Many Cultures, which will be held April 16th. So there's a collaboration between SGA, STAM, and SLS, Freedom Ambassadors, Leadership Programs, and LASE that will be working on this event. We're expecting about 900 attendees. The budget allocated for this event is $8,000. Various food trucks will be here. The fashion program will be putting a fashion show. Also, our fine arts will be doing art show in this event. Also, we'll have the DWI awareness, and we will have plenty of resources tables for our students. Yesterday, the 25th, yesterday, about 80 middle school and high school students came from and visited SFCC through the Gear Up program, and OSD with student government work with students through icebreakers and other leadership skills, which this is an opportunity for recruitment for future students. We have also Vice President and Historian and Vice President Sigala and Historian Vigil. They attended Stop the Bleed as CERT. They are the first two CERT student members. And then Student Ambassador Dinner will be April 24th, where SJ will be part of. Also, SJ will be attending the NSLS induction, which is April 5th. Also, OSD and ambassadors have been making calls, the Men for Men outreach. That's what they're working right now in the OSD office in collaboration. And they're making calls to first-year Hispanic males to ask how they're doing, if they need any additional support or resources. Also, we were part of the Black History Month events in collaboration with OSD. It was hosted the final Black History Month event. Approximately 250 people attended. Guests were served by leadership groups, and then a survey was conducted, and it was rated at a 4 by 72% of those who were surveyed. So we are getting ready to close out. We're almost, this team is almost done. We have one more month. We're excited to wrap up what we've worked on and pass it on to the next team, and I know they will do an amazing job. Thank you. Any questions? No questions? Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just a quick comment. I wanted to comment on the fact that a number of the presidential candidates commented on their meeting with students, their interview with students when they came to campus, and how impressed they were at how well prepared our students were for the process. So thank you for all the work that the students put into that process as well, and for asking some good questions.
Thank you very much. I will pass that on to my team. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have the consent agenda, which includes minutes and the Santa Fe, which policy is this?
No policies.
No policy. Okay, can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, let's go on to our financial report. Which we actually reviewed in our work session.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, President Cervantes. I have in front of you the financial report for the end of February 2019. At the end of February, we showed an operating bank account cash balance total of 11.3 million. You can compare that to 8.8 in the prior year. That's a $2.5 million improvement. Tuition and fees revenue were down 9%, totaling 6.6 million, and that is a decrease of $680,000 to the prior year. Local appropriations revenue is 13.1 million at the end of February. That's up by 11%, and that's up 1.3 million compared to the prior year. State appropriations revenue has increased by 6% and is up by $348,000. In total, if you look at ING, instruction and general revenues, they are up by $860,000, and that's 3%, totaling 26.6 million at the end of February. On the expense side, expenses in total ING expenditures, they're down by $178,000. That's 1%, and total out to be $21 million. ING compensations down by 2%. That's down $342,000, and total out to be $15.3 million. And if you look at supplies expense, equipment, and utilities, that's even compared to last FY18. As we talked about earlier today, we have good performance in the Public Service Fund. We always look at Kids Campus, and I think that we heard earlier why there's so much improvement at our Kids Campus operation financially. They're doing such a great job over there, especially with respect to sourcing out new areas of funding for the program. And so Kids Campus has a positive income of $69,000 at the end of February. In total, the Public Service Fund has a positive income of $152,000. That's compared to our anticipated transfer of $714 in, so it's really, really good news. And we look forward to that continuing throughout the remainder of the fiscal year. The only area other than tuition and fees that, I'm going to take a close look at is the auxiliary funds made up of bookstore and food service. As we did discuss, the total income there is $12,139, and that is much lower than what we saw last year at the same time. So with that, I can stand for any questions that you might have.
Any questions? Okay. Can we have a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, legal agreement. Who's going to do that?
Left.
I guess you are.
John just left. He left.
It says Mr. Tejas.
He
But
just
John
left.
was going to do it.
I saw him just leave. I was surprised when he left, but I wasn't going to tackle him. He took off his coat and left.
So, as you have in your packets, we're asking for the approval of the legal agreement for the Local Management Relations Board Legal Services. We're asking the board to approve that, and this really extends the past contract that we've had for the legal services to the LMRB, and it is with JFK Law, who we have used before, and what we have is a total budget amount of $245,000 for this expense for this fiscal year.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the mailroom equipment and supplies.
The
and
mailroom
maintenance
equipment.
Contract.
Madam Chair, board members, President Cervantes, what we have here is a contract that we're asking the board to approve for the mailroom equipment. Really, we're bringing that to the board because of a new change to our policies that require any contract that is over 4 years in length and over $100,000. We're now required to bring that to the board. This contract is for 5 years and is over that $100,000 amount. So we're asking for the board's approval of this contract. It's based off of a state price agreement, and so because we have a price agreement, under the procurement code, we are allowed to move forward on these contracts, except for now the college's policy requires it to come to the board. With that,
Yes.
I would ask your approval.
And we did discuss this at length in the financial session. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have nothing else. Board reports? Yes. Too late.
Too late, John.
You turned it down.
Perfect timing. We're done.
We're done.
We're done.
Pobrecito. Poor thing.
We already passed them. Right.
Good.
Go- Yes, Martha.
So, Madam Chair, I want to take this opportunity to, since this, our presidential search process is over, to thank all of the people who were involved in giving us advice and to helping us. First of all, the PSAC, 19 members, some of you are in the room, but it was made up of faculty and students and staff and community members who worked really hard. They provided enormous amount of feedback. They read resumes and reports and letters of nomination. They debated. They came to consensus, and they sent us some very good candidates. And then the board got an opportunity to interview, and we were pleased with the five that were sent to us. I want to also thank Yash, who was really, really helpful to the board in putting together all of the feedback, and his staff, who in very short time put together all of the feedback from all of the groups, including the interview, the various interview feedback loops that we had, the days of the interviews. So they didn't have very much time, and they did a wonderful job of putting it all together for us. Terrence Donaldson and Donna Wells were our staff people assigned to this project, and they were incredibly helpful in getting all the logistics of numerous interviews and accommodations and overview of the search consultants meetings. There were several meetings, and all of that was very important. So that was, and then I want to thank the people who attended the forums, because I think the forums gave us a really good opportunity to get a feeling of how the candidates interacted with the community, how the candidates responded to the community, and how the community saw them. So we had some excellent feedback from that, and I think it's really a credit to all the people who came to the forums and gave us feedback. And then I want to thank Academic Search, who did an incredible job for us, both in putting our advertising material together, in meeting and supporting the candidates and recruiting candidates and talking up Santa Fe Community College and its many assets, so that people were enthusiastic about coming. Especially to Dr. Jean Floten, who in the past month, she and I have been in almost daily conversations as we moved through the college part of this process. And I really I want to thank her for her advice. And although we will have many opportunities to thank Dr. Cervantes for being such an outstanding interim president, I think it's also appropriate for us at this point to say that we have really benefited and support and moved the college forward in terms of her leadership at the college. So all of that.
Thank you.
Yes, and
Thank
now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cervantes.
Thank you.
I want to thank Martha, who has spent hundreds of hours at least doing everything that she just mentioned that other people did, because she was helping to organize them and calling people to be the people that the board had suggested to be on the search committee, and talking to the consultants every day. I mean, you spent a whole lot of time and energy, and you have really helped to make this process happen. And I, for one, am very grateful to you for spending that energy for months on this project, which has resulted for us in a very good president selection.
appropriate to end. And I think it's appropriate to end by saying that we look forward to working with Dr. Rebecca Rowley as our new president. We are very excited to have her, and we know that she'll do a very good job for us. I think the student talked a little bit about their enthusiasm for her as our new president, and I know that there are many other people that I've talked with who had been lobbying for her. So, and even though I couldn't say, she'll be our president because I didn't know, before I had not reached a decision, there were numerous people who mentioned what a good choice she and what good fit she is. So I think we're upward and onward.
Thank you. Okay, can we have a motion to go, well, let's see, our next budget session and training is April 26th, and our regular board meeting is on the 29th. And now we need to go into closed session to talk about bargaining.
Quick question about our agenda. So are we kind of doing the budget meeting in lieu of a finance committee meeting this month? So is there no finance committee meeting month for the month of April?
We had it.
We're doing the
We did it
26th.
at 3.
No, for
For the
April.
month.
Oh, for April. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you meant this.
The March report.
Right. So Kathy's question is, are we having a finance committee meeting too, in addition to a budget meeting?
In April, next month.
That half-day retreat, that we're having?
All we note on our agenda is a half-day retreat on Friday and then the regular board meeting the following Wednesday. Will we be having a finance committee meeting in between or just those two meetings in April?
I think that, if we could fit it in on that, the 29th, I think,
It's Monday.
when we,
Board meeting's Monday.
intend to approve the budget, I think if we could do it earlier that day, if possible.
Put it on for the work session, you're saying?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
That would,
okay, that will work.
That would work for me. Thank you. Thanks for clarifying that.
Okay. So a motion to go into closed session to discuss collective bargaining. Is there a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Oh, and is Nick supposed to come in this meeting?
I don't know.
About,
Oh,
I think so.
There's
Lynn
that
said,
one item?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, so Nick,
Didn't know.
Lynn mentioned.